Ethan, tell me about your history with music.
Well, it's been second grade. The teachers brought out a bunch of instruments to play, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And they had tambourines and uh, cymbals and different like band instruments, but mostly percussion instruments because we were just in second grade. And the teacher brought out a snare drum, and my brother and I always played the Navy theme, "Anchors Away," on the snare drum, and we got good at that. And I played that for my second grade, and I thought I was a star. It was just unbelievable. I thought, hey, the girls like this, so I went for it. So I started then, but it took a little while. I played trumpet for about 4 or 5 years, and then the Beatles came out, and it was well. Actually, I was kind of just slightly before the Beatles. I was playing some Beach Boys and Ventures music because I saw the electric guitar, and I just couldn't believe the sound, and it just drew me right in. And then the Beatles came, and it was all over. I just had to continue right from there. So that's about when I bought the dream for pop music and wanted to continue a pursuit of something in that field. But you know how it is. It's an artist field, and it's very difficult to really make an impression. But I've tried all my life, and I don't know how to do anything differently. So
Who was the artist that cemented you with the guitar?
George Harrison, I think, pretty much he and Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, but mostly George Harrison because I just related so heavily to the Beatles being young guys at the time, just a few years older than us, and I thought that they were just wonderful at their melody and songwriting ability. And George was such a wonderful player and a sensitive player, and I always liked the tasteful stuff that he used to play. And so I'd say George Harrison,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, you play a right-handed guitar, right?
Yes,
But you play left-handed, so you basically play it upside down and backwards.
that's exactly right.
Tell me about that.
I years ago when I first started playing, there was no such thing as far as a left-handed instrument, or there was, but there was not available to me anyways. And my parents weren't really into the electric scene anyways. They wanted me to play classical nylon string, and I got an acoustic guitar that lasted for about I don't know, 2 or 3 days, and I said, I've got to have an electric guitar. And so I borrowed one from a guy down the street, and of course it was a right-handed instrument. But I wanted to play so badly, and I'm so terminally left-handed that I just had to play it this way. So now I still play it upside down and backwards, but I use left-handed instruments strung right-handed. So it becomes a little easier because the instrument is shaped a little bit better to play left-handed. And I've done it ever since that way.
You've played in quite a few bands. Give us a little history of your band life and when you first started playing with a group.
It's difficult again to say because I started, well, in a lot of these grand bands you've never heard of, I'm sure. But I was in, let's see, I was in seventh grade, and we were in a band called the Viscounts, and we played at our seventh grade dance, and that was just, we were rock stars. It was just fantastic, even though we stunk, but we did the best that we could. And that's how I got started in making up my own songs, trying to write my own songs to make people, to entertain people the best I could. A lot of people copy music off the radio and things like that, which we also did. But coming up with original music has always been my drive. And so we were in the Viscounts, and we made up all kinds of little instrumental songs. And then later on, I was in a group called the Kids, and we had a small deal on RCA records, but that was all our own music also. And it was, you might recall a song we do, "You Need to Be Cool to Be Cool." We still do that. And later on after that, I had a group called The Obvious that was on Amherst Records, and we played all kind of R&B, Hall and Oates type music, all still original, and we had a small album deal to do that. And then I played with Bat McGrath for a number of years, and he was always playing original music then. So I kind of missed the boat on the top 40 thing, but I always wanted to play my own music, and so I maybe have suffered a little bit as far as fame and fortune goes, as far as playing top 40 music, but I've enjoyed it, and I still enjoy writing songs and playing with other people, collaborating with other people.
You've had, I'm sure, as most musicians had, a lot of disappointments.
Oh,
You
sure.
want to elaborate on some of those or tell us a bit about them?
Well, a little bit. That group that I had, the Kids, we had a deal supposedly on RCA Records, but that fell through the floor. We were just young kids, and we didn't really have management or people that were taking care of us business wise, so we didn't really make good decisions. And we kind of chased after this album deal, but it just kind of fell through. Then another group that I had, I said was the obvious, and we had a deal supposedly on Atlantic Records, and that went really, really well for a long time. And then that whole deal kind of went sour because for one reason or another, the attorneys couldn't get along and they couldn't hack out a proper deal. And then we had a number of disappointments with Bat McGrath music. We had a lot of regional breakouts and some things like that as far as Billboard magazine goes, but we still suffered as far as major airplay and things like that. We did an album in Scotland, and we were able to uh, uh, play our music then and spread it around, but we still didn't have a really big, solid record deal, which was always a disappointment. But hey, that's part of the business. That's how it goes. But you keep dreaming, you keep trying, and you just keep going.
Is that what keeps you in the music business? What is it that you just can't resign yourself to?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's something that does drive me each day to want to get better or improve my playing style or my writing style. I also enjoy very much, and I've been very lucky to play with a lot of really, really great musicians. And to play with them is so, so rewarding. And to have people react to that performance is always so rewarding. It just keeps you going. It's just a little taste of something here and there always keeps the artist going. And whether he ever gets famous or not is just something that drives them that you just can't deny that that's where they get their energy from people that are from interaction with people and response from the crowd. And that's what keeps me going.
Are there jealousies within the performing the music industry? Or I mean, do you feel threatened by anyone else, or is there a real camaraderie?
I only am threatened by these young guitar players that are just so god darn good. They're just so amazingly good. There's kids that are 16 years old that play rings around you, and they just are so good. That's the only time I ever feel a little threatened because of my age and whatnot. But I've been lucky to play in Nashville and LA, New York, and things like that. And I've had good experience, but these young kids are probably the only thing that makes me a little bit jealous because I said, geez, they've got talent. They're just so good.
What advice would you give to people either starting out or people that have been hacking in it for a long time? What as a person that's probably been in it for 30 years or better,
Sure.
what advice do you have for them?
Well, I advise young people, especially, not to quit, not to slack off and say, "Oh, I can't make it. I can't do this. I can't do that," and they may be lacking sometimes in musical ability or musical technique as far as their instrument goes. But if they can express themselves and create a piece of art, to me, that's it's worth all the time that they can put into it, and they shouldn't be discouraged at what other people may think. You know as well as I do that an artist's material doesn't go over with everyone, and when it does and it feels good and people really respond to what you're doing, that's the reward. So don't quit and you don't fail.
Are you going to quit?
Oh, I would have quit a long time ago. There's just no way I'm going to quit now. As long as I can stand up, as long as I can get that guitar in tune and play with guys that I'm playing with, these guys, especially right now that I'm playing with, David and Mark and Tyler, are just phenomenal players. All of them. I'm so grateful to be able to be with them.